Welcome into the spring edition of the Inside the Cliff podcast, and we have head football coach, Coach Koziol.
Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
I know we've talked once, but this was something since you were hired as the head coach that I've been wanting to do and get the word out about the program. But coming off of an awesome spring Saturday, there was no place I'd rather be than watching some football on a spring Saturday.
I'll tell you what, that environment was electric.
It was awesome.
I have never seen a spring game at Briarcliff be like that. You know, we left the locker room at 10:45 and we walked down the hill, and we get to the top of the hill, and I looked around and I go, "Oh crap, boys, nobody slip!" Like
Right.
we had a massive amount of trucks, parents tailgating, the students were bouncing back and forth. It was one of the most enjoyable experiences and atmospheres, and it really, it gave our guys like a glimpse of people here are here to support you. People here care about you, especially off the season that we're just coming off of. Like the momentum's at an all-time high right now. We're really excited.
Yeah, and I think what really added to it, I know when we play at Memorial Field, we're close.
Yeah.
The fans are close to the field. A little bit closer at Faber.
Yeah.
And you had that atmosphere, like you said, but I think the fans easily drew off of the players. And what I got most about it, just as a casual observer, is the positivity of your team, the group togetherness. You send a lineman back to catch a punt, and it didn't matter what color jersey he had on. Everybody's hooting and hollering and having a good time, as well as taking care of business. And another thing I picked up on was the way that they were taking instruction from coaches in and out of those times, because you had times where obviously it's intense and you're going full bore, and then you had a few times where you're stepping back a little bit to give them some rest. And their enthusiasm and their love for each other never stopped. And it just built as the practice went on.
Yeah, and it was, we kind of changed our practice structure a little bit this spring when I took over. And then it kind of led into that spring game model of, we're going to do a lot of teams. We're going to get some breaks in between, and then we're going to create a little bit more buzz and some more competition with those one-on-ones. And I thought that was a lot of fun. I had a lot of parents coming up to me being like, "Hey, we're putting some side bets down on some people." And it was all fun and games. But like you said, like that was one thing that we really, talked about this spring as a program is, how are we going to become one, right? Like one of the coolest things about Briarcliff is we allow every person here to be who they are. We want you to celebrate and be unapologetically you. But the mission is, how do we create one mindset? And so we did a lot of that this spring, and our guys' togetherness is at an all-time high. I've been meeting with all 53 of our guys this spring individually. I got one meeting left right after this, and they have been nothing but positive and excited. And a lot of it is because we just finished that spring game on Saturday where we had all the fans, all the students, all the parents tailgating, and the atmosphere was so positive. And the offense goes down the first drive, starts rolling, gets a couple third down conversions, defense sticks their heels in the ground, forces a field goes through. All right, that's great vibes, man. Defense got to stop, offense got all the way down, the field goal did its job. And then the defense gets a couple stop, offense scores again, offense scores 2 times in a row to end it, and then we end with that 3-play goal line, best 2 out of 3, and the defense stick their heels in the ground, they win that. So the back and forth was what you want to see, because if you have one side kind of beating up on each other all day, it's like, oh boy, here we go again. But none of our guys got that way. And as you said, the positive vibes and just feeling on the sideline from our players, it's rare. It reminded me a lot of our game against Mount Marty last year, where on that sideline, we knew we were winning. It didn't matter if it was 3rd and 18 and Brock Saya pulled a rabbit out of his hat and all of a sudden found Ezra Heiner on the sideline for a first down. It didn't matter. We knew we were getting that first down. We're calling punt team, and everybody's like, "Coach, we don't need punt. We're getting the first down. We get it." And so that's what it felt like on Saturday. And so the momentum that we're riding into this next phase of summer training is really high, and we're only going to get better because we got one of the best recruiting classes coming in.
That was leading to my next question, is the number of recruits that came for the spring game was really impressive to me, and that tells me of what your coaching staff has been able to accomplish through the recruiting cycle. But for them to come on their own accord, get down on the sideline, hoot and holler, and I think it was Dayton Harrell, and I'm not pointing him out over anybody else, but he went over to one of the recruits and was pointing and this and that, and like he was coaching in the
Yep.
middle of that to a
Yeah.
kid that's coming in going, okay, watch for this, look for that. I was so impressed.
That just Dayton is the epitome of our team, like just like that. Like he's gonna take someone and take him under his wing, and he's done a great job of that all spring. Whether it's his current teammates or whether it was just any old recruit that came on campus throughout spring ball, he was doing that. Another guy that does a really good job of that is Ethan Dolan, another Sioux City North kid,
which is huge.
Yes,
getting the local kids
absolutely,
to bring in the local
and
kids.
it helps that they're really good football players
that
too.
Helps,
that helps.
It?
But going back to the recruiting point though, like we had over 30 juniors on campus for that spring. It was the biggest junior day we've ever had. And then we're bringing in, as of right now, 61 new freshmen into the fall. And the talent of that 61 freshmen, our coaches have really pounded pavement, and we're not even done yet. That's the exciting part. Like we're still going, but that's one thing when I took over as head coach about a month and a half ago, we really want to kind of flip our recruiting calendar where we're starting on 2027s way earlier than we ever have. That junior class way earlier. So by the time December comes, we see more Briarcliff Chargers committing earlier in the process. So, and it's been a really positive thing for us. We've restructured recruiting areas, how we go about recruiting. And you've really kind of seen it pay off over the last few months because we never intended on this many commits, but they just keep coming in because they're so excited about what's going on and the vision of this place and where this school's going. And so we're really excited, and this fall can't come soon enough.
So let's talk about that as you transition from a coordinator to a head coach. You've worked under head coaches obviously for a while, and your ascension to this position. When you were offered and when they said, Coach Kozi, we want you to be the head coach, what thought process goes through your mind? Probably the first is, oh boy, I got some work to do. but what goes through your mind? What goes through the process of turning a team that you were obviously a defensive coordinator and a big leader of one group to now you are the leader of everybody? How does that work?
The first thing that went through the mind was the players. Like every single player in this program, Coach Ladegi recruited. He offered, sat with their parents. And I've been here now the whole time with them, but I wasn't the head coach. I wasn't the guy they signed up for. Now, the defensive guys understood the role and all that, but that was the first thing, was we need to make sure that these guys understand that I'm not just a defensive coach anymore. I'm the head coach, and the offense is my best friend. It always has been. They keep us off the field and they put points on the board. They're my best friend. And so kind of educating that along the way with the guys. And I think they really saw that this spring. That's kind of the feedback I've gotten back of, we didn't know what to expect going into spring ball with me, because I still am the defensive coordinator, what it was going to be like. And it's been really positive. But the first thing was, okay, what do we got to do with the players? Because it always has been about them and it always will be. And so I met with them, every single one of them individually, that starting the day after I was announced through the end of the week. And those were really long days because they were long meetings. But the first thing was just sit back and listen. Frustrations, questions, comments, concerns, ideas. Hey, it's my first time. I just got thrown into this. Do you guys have ideas of things you like or you want to see in a program? And we've incorporated some of those. And I think it's been really positive, and our guys have really bought in. And that's what I'm most excited about, because we have a really close team of returning veterans that once we get this next nucleus to join, to me, it's going to be an issue for the other teams in the GPAC, and I'm really excited about it.
Well, and another huge positive is the fact that you ascending to a head coach's role have to re-recruit your coaches in a sense as well, because your coaches can jump ship and say, well, we made a change. I'm going to so-and-so, or I'm going to take this opportunity. But all those guys stayed.
That was the very first thing I did. Was as soon as we kind of knew the day before it was announced to the team, like we had a staff meeting, Coach Ladegi informed everyone, and then I grabbed every coach individually and I was like, you're going nowhere. Like, you're the best O-line coach that I've ever been around, Coach Ross. You're not leaving. Coach Sayer, you're one of the most brilliant minds, in the way that you can articulate and coach the quarterbacks is better than I've ever seen. Like, you're not going anywhere. I promise you, man. And so it was a really positive talks, and it gave them kind of an opportunity to voice their concerns and opinions of things that maybe they want differently in a program. And I know Coach Sayer and Coach Ross have brought a lot of great ideas to the table, and we've incorporated a lot of those. And it's really shown, practice structures, how we compete every day out there, how we keep score, practice every day, and just to create ultra competition within our guys, to put it in their DNA. And it's very noticeable right now, and it's really exciting.
Yeah, and what's exciting as a fan of Briarcliff University is the youth of the coaches
Yeah.
and the energy of the coaches that we have. It seems like throughout the programs right now, and I know that uh, I saw Corby at the spring game,
Yeah.
and I know Coach Figuera comes to football games,
Yep.
and Connor
Yep.
Sonius was there. Talk about the close knit of the community of you coaches here at Briarcliff,
Yeah.
and how maybe that helped you make a more immediate decision on
Yeah.
saying, "Yep, I want to be in that head coach fraternity now."
Absolutely. Like Coach Figuera, Coach McLaughlin, all those guys I've known throughout the whole time here. And they've been nothing but great friends to me to begin with, even when I was an assistant. And when I did get the job, they were the first ones to call me, text me, come see me in my office. Hey, if you need questions, how to fill out these spreadsheets, whatever the case might be, they've been great resources. And, one thing you could talk about, like the energy of our coaches. Like what's really exciting about it is I was able to promote Jaden Avery Stowers to our full-time spot, kind of essentially backfilling my role.
Sure.
But what's really exciting is we have 4 BCU alums on our coaching staff. Like that is half of our coaching staff. We got an 8-person coaching staff. Half of them are Briarcliff alums.
And the strength side too.
And the strength side. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like you got Coach Ross, you got Coach Montag, you got Coach Rascone now, and you got Coach.
He's going to be a great coach.
Oh yeah, they're going to be awesome.
They're all going to be great coaches,
but to have guys who have been here, who have a diploma from Briarcliff, who love this place, and quite frankly, all of them have been through some pretty tough times here. But they've also been through some of the best times here. And so to have that just perspective for our players, for our recruits coming in, for our families in our program, hey, there's people here that don't want to leave because of how special this place is. It's been awesome.
And I think you see that on the football roster going into next season is there are players that could have elected to be done,
right,
but do not want to do that, and they want to be. It's their turn to be that high level veteran leader, and from the looks of it, from the sounds of it, they've all stepped up into that role, and it's their turn with the baton, and they're running with it.
Yeah, our retainment level has been awesome this spring. I mean, our retention has been awesome. So I'm really excited about what we continue to do, and we've got some guys that are stepping into new roles. We've got guys maybe switching some positions, which is going to be even more exciting that teams don't quite know about yet. So, but it's going to be a lot better. And we got guys that were going to play a lot last year that had some injuries that weren't able to. And this spring, they were really good. And so that's what I think we've got a really good nucleus right now. And then we just add those new guys coming on in, and it's going to be really good.
And as you look at a full spring now in the books, what are some of the biggest things that you want the offense to take a look at and concentrate on in the summer, as well as the defense? Because obviously room for improvement. The off season is where you get it the most.
Yeah. The biggest thing for us is, as I told every player in our team for one of our first team meetings, is great football teams do 2 things. Number one, they run the football at a high level when the defense knows you're going to run the football. And defenses stop the run when the offense is going to run the football. So that has been a huge point of emphasis this whole offseason is offensively, how do we run the ball better? Defensively, how do we stop the run better? And it was great back and forth. And you saw it sometimes in the spring game. You would see 2 TFLs, then all of a sudden you'd see a 30-yard run. And it's like, okay, that's what we like to see. And then this summer, I mean, we're just continue to develop that with our guys. We're going to have almost 75 of our athletes here this summer.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. Once we hit to the early part of July, about 90% of our roster is going to be here. So it's going to be, great to be able to see them working out together, being with each other, and then being able to, see them out in the practice field doing offense and defensive stuff to continue to hone in their skills. So by the time we hit August 7th, they're going to be ready to go.
You're polishing and putting in plays.
Yes.
And that's such a huge thing, is having such a great nucleus back, having the ability to challenge the newcomers to get into the system, and just seeing, back to last season, seeing the number of recruits on the sideline, but not only seeing them on the sideline, the investment they seem to have in the games. They were jumping up and down just as much as the players were, and you were one of them that got some really good height a few times this season. I noticed that out of the
a couple
corner of my
inches there.
eye.
I don't know.
I know that, but I know the intensity is there. And when I watch the coaching staff on the field, it's evident that the players don't have to ever wonder, a coach has my back. Coach is celebrating just as much as us
Yeah.
players. And I think that goes a long way because coaches have had to kind of turn into a player's coach, for lack of a better
Yeah.
term, in that there's got to be some lightheartedness in the middle of the seriousness.
Absolutely.
Because you are playing a game that's supposed to be fun.
Yeah. And that's something that we talk about a lot. Our 3 pillars of our program starts with trust, believe in each other, and then just toughness. Those are our 3 main pillars in our program. And we talk about, I was telling our athletic director, Dan, this earlier. One of the greatest pieces of advice before I had a kid was you want to create a safe place to fail in for that child. And so I really thought about that, and I was like, oh, wow, that's powerful. And so that every recruit I meet with in their families, I tell them, like, this is going to be a safe place for your son to fail in. And we're going to, sometimes that safe place is going to be an arm around them, loving them. Sometimes it's going to be a swift kick to the butt sometimes because they need it. But our coaches do a great job of finding that balance. We're going to have high standards. We're going to have high expectations. We're going to be very detail oriented. But there's nothing wrong with making a mistake at times because we are going to be there to help pick you up because those are the greatest learning moments.
And that's how programs are built,
Yes.
and that's how environments are built, and that's how you get to take such a positive into the summer, into the fall. Can't wait to. I know you don't want to wish away the summer. Nobody wants to wish away summer. Yeah. But August 29th is circled on the calendar.
It is.
There's a countdown there. So what are some of the things that maybe has popped up on you that as a new head football coach, you go, okay, I'm going to segment this summer out and I'm going to learn this. I'm going to do this. What's your first summer going to look like heading into that fall camp?
Yeah, first thing is just finalizing this recruiting class. We're going to go about and we're going to find a couple transfers now, some impact guys that can come in and make an immediate impact at certain positions. That's our first thing. And then once that's kind of done, then it's going to be self-evaluation from the spring. What were we good at? What did we struggle with? Why did we struggle with it? And why were we good at it? And figure out what is our roster, what is our talent going to be in the fall? What can we succeed at? So we can put our players in a good position. And then the last thing is getting ready for that Saturday against Mayville State here at Memorial Field. They represent a very unique challenge. As I say, it's Coach Ledege's parting gift with us because he scheduled them, and offensively they run under center triple option. Like you look at Army and Navy,
that's a challenge.
Defensively, they run the flex defense where they got guys moving all around at the line of scrimmage and they're just trying to create chaos. Now, for us, it's different than what we see in our league. No team in our league runs those offensively or defensive schemes. And so for us, it's, okay, how are we going to do this? But we can't just figure out that the week of that game. So we have all summer to prep for it. And we've got 75 guys here where, hey, we could start installing some things for that throughout the time and to make sure our guys are ready for that game week. So that'd be the kind of the last phase that we do before we head into fall camp. But our guys are so excited. They're chomping at the bit, and they're ready for a heck of a season.
Well, it's a great time to be a Charger football fan. It is awesome to have you in our first segment here of our video version of this podcast, Coach. And we're going to do it again in the fall. I look forward to sitting down with you every Friday and talking with you and about the games and about the players and things like that. So we're going to continue to put this out. Thanks to Anissa behind the camera. Anissa doing a great job today, as she always does. But congrats on being named the head coach. Very deserving for you, and you got a lot of fans out there. And the buzz in the stands from the parents was that, boy, we found our right guy.
I appreciate it, and the parents have been nothing but supportive through. I mean, they send emails seeing what they can do to help out, and it's going to be a really exciting fall.
Coach Kozi here on the Inside the Cliff podcast on the Briar Cliff Charger Sports Network at bcuchargers.com. Thank you for watching, and we will talk to you very soon.